What a world, DJ on the mic, and this whoop whoop, it's the sound of the police. Whoop whoop, it's the sound of the police. Whoop whoop, it's the sound of the police. And boy, Alphamon is coming in because let me tell you, you better be checking yourself because he's going all through that security. So in this video, I'm going to go over my new deck build for this bad boy. I'm talking maximum consistency. Let me tell you, you're going to be in for a treat. So if this is the video for you as I go through my ratio tech and all that good stuff, then make sure you stick around and enjoy. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, then make sure you subscribe and turn the notification bell because I do videos on the reg. Boy, first take Drake, that's how I like to do it. So let's go in with the eggs as standard because, like I say, Alphamon, to be honest, before the restriction on Dora Grey, you know, the deck was slapping. But when that restriction hit in, you know, that inconsistency kind of kicked in. But now that we got Dora Grey back in full swing, we're just going back all classic. So, eggs, standard. BT13 Digimon, best in slot. Like, there's just no debate about this. It's just fantastic because it enables you to get some draw, enables you to obviously benefit off you tucking a Axe Antibody Digimon, which this whole deck is, underneath, and you're just going to be maximizing on that value. So that's all that needs to be said about the eggs right there. So the main interesting thing, which is probably going to tilt a little bit ahead in regards to this list, is going to be the rookies. Yes, guys, the rookies. Obviously, a lot of people are running that SUNARIZAMON goodness, and you know what? It slaps. It's great if you have it in hand first turn. But if you don't, it's a little bit of a brick. So, as I go through my ratios, you're going to be in for a little bit of surprise. But I'm going to have good justification of why I'm using the particular Digimon that I am using. So, standard is going to be a BT7 Digimon at 4. It's going to be your Ryudamon, but it's going to be at 3. And then lastly, this is the bit that's going to tilt a bit ahead. Is going to be a BT9 Dorumon at 4. Yes, guys. This is where it's like, oh, hell no. Turn off the video. But hear me out, guys. So let's go over obviously the classic. This is obviously going to be a primary rookie that you ideally just want in stack. You always want to get this bad boy in stack because we don't run actual coda in this build. So if we do happen to throw this down out for free and manage to get a search off, we're only maximizing getting one card, and that's obviously going to be an X antibody trait Digimon, which is fine. But realistically, we either want to be tucking this card or having it in raising straight off the bat, because that's where you're going to get your maximum value off of its inheritables, that you're able to gain memory when a X antibody Digimon is tucked underneath, which is obviously the value. Obviously, Ryudamon's going to be key for obviously searching us our Yuji. Yuji's a core piece in this deck for sure, in order for you to obviously just get that aggression off comfortably. But its inheritable sucks ass. I'm sorry, it still does. I'm like, whoever's saying that its inheritable is good, it's not. It never comes up. It's very rare it comes up. It's nice when it does, but it's very rare it does come up. But the reason why I've actually upped Dorumon BT9 at 4 is because realistically, this card is underrated massively. 1, it can set up your freaking trash, which is huge in this deck. My main build is a matter of us setting up trash and going for that massive burst turn and just finishing the game. That is what we're trying to achieve here. Having maximum consistency really does help with that, and this just facilitates so much. Setting up trash, you're always netting 2 cards, meaning that our options, which are quite pivotal in this deck, we can ensure that we're actually going to get them. And then as well, we've actually got a Digimon out on the field in order for us to get some light chips in or to build a blocker if needs be. It means that we have options, and I do like this card because it does that. Realistically, if I'm passing turn, I've not sacrificed any cards whatsoever. The only cards I've sacrificed is ones in my hand that I don't actually need, or Ryumon, who I've actually just set up ready for me to go for my burst play. Because realistically, I'm sacrificing 1, I'm drawing 2. Obviously, opponent does its thing, comes back to my turn, I draw 1. Compared to, say, Ryudamon effectively could net me 2 cards if I happen to reveal Yuji from that search. Otherwise, if I don't, then I've literally got 1 card. It's no better than Dorumon at that point. So I do really appreciate this card. Even if I have to slap this in raising, if I have Yuji out on the field and push up, boom, I gain the memory, draw one. The thing that I don't like about SUNARIZAMON is the fact that, you know, you can't really be responsive with it. It's kind of like you got to ensure that you go into a champion which is going to be able to enable you to effectively trigger Yuji at that point, which sometimes you just have to naturally respond to an opponent's board state, which may just mean that you have to be forced out of raising. So that's my ratios right there. No SUNARIZAMON, but we do run 11 rookies. Going over to champions right here, we're going with a solid 10, and it has to be the new BT13 Darugomon at 3. Obviously our BT7 Darugomon at 3, and then beautiful card right here. It's going to be your Dex Daruguru. God, man, I really butcher these. Dex Darugomon at 4. So realistically right here, obviously these you want to be finding because you want to just make sure you get those amazing, and then you'll be able to utilize your Dex Darugomon, which is just such a powerful card if you do happen to have Cool Boy out there as well. So it enables you to effectively get blocker and retaliation if you've evoed on top of these bad boys, which is going to be massively helpful. The block and retaliation comes up quite massively, meaning that when you do get to your top end, you're going to be a massive blocker. If they go in and try and deal with it with, you know, commencing battle, then they're dead. And 9 times out of 10, because Alphamon's turn's quite long, 9 times out of 10 the opponent's already forgot that you've got block and retaliation on that stat, despite you telling them. Obviously the Darugomon BT7 is helpful if you throw out your BT9 Darumon out. Means that you obviously got ways to block, which is quite nice. And then as well, just having more inhibitables that gain you DP is going to be beneficial for you. Obviously the BT13 cost of 4 to hard slam this bad boy down is always a delight. So definitely a nice 3-3 split, but this is when you're going to be popping off. When you got your cool boys cooking and Yuji out, you're like, right, go time, boys. And you just literally pop off so hard with this. Effectively, you're just net memory because you gain the memory when you've trashed the card there as well with X antibody its trait. So really, really powerful card. Ideally, you do want to be seeing that and you're going to be laughing. So that concludes for champions. Going on to the ultimates. This is probably another one that's going to tilt some heads, but obviously I will explain. So new BT13 Darugomon at 4 standard, powerful card. Then we do run the free Dex Darugomon, and then we run the restricted Darugomon. So you're both thinking, damn son, why are you running 3 of these bad boys? Ideally, this is actually good for controlling, and 2, it actually helps if you don't happen to have Dex Darugomon early enough before you're popping off or forced to pop off. So this actually just helps in order for you to kind of trigger your cool boys and ensure that you actually have one of these in your hand. Another good thing as well is that if you do happen to have too many of these, it's a good target for your BT9 Darumon just to kind of trash it. It's great, but ideally you do not want to be just evoing into this, which is unfortunate off of a champion. Granted, it is still the cost of 3 if you manage to trash a Digimon with X and its traits, but yeah, it is the bit of the sadness. But this is a good control mechanism because it means that if you have it either on top of your Darugomon or any of these, you can delete a level 4 or lower Digimon. Deleting by level is incredibly strong, very strong. I mean, Beelzemon does by levels and he gets the maximum value. You can really get rid of some menacing threats. Just to get rid of a level, you know, if they've boosted DP, doesn't matter. We're going by level, does help out a lot. But this BT13 Darugomon is the freaking nuts. Honestly, I love this card. Bit bad when you do get the whiff though, because when Digivolving, you can reveal top 3 cards of your deck and then place 1 card with X antibody in its traits amongst them underneath, then you trash the rest. So it's not like Grademon where you can get an Alphamon and then the remaining you can either tuck and then after that you trash the rest. Like, that was sexy, but this could sometimes really shaft you if you do happen to mill your Alphamon. And that's where it's like, oh, so the sadness. But with this deck and this list, effectively, you hopefully would actually have Alphamon before you even go into this, because we do have a lot of draw power, and Alphamon's probably one of those decks that's like just really hyper consistent. so won't worry too much, but it does happen. On top of that, its inheritable is fucking cracked. It means effectively, depending on what your stack is looking like, you actually have like options in terms of like how to effectively end turn but then regain turn, because at the end of turn you may place one Digimon card with X antibody in its traits from your hand at the bottom of this Digimon, which gives you such a plethora of combos that you can do. You can use your options to obviously just kind of stun up the board, but then trigger this effect to slide in a Dorumon BT7, which effectively then will regain you back turn because you will gain a memory, which just once again extends your plays. On top of that, you can actually trigger this with 4 Oryukenmons, well, Alphamon Oryukenmon mode. God, I feel like I butchered that, because you could add more sources in order for you to gain more memory, which is just so helpful. And then lastly, you know, I mean, this boy got restricted for a reason and it's still cracked. I mean, just sliding this underneath out from the trash is just fantastic. If you manage to evo into it, even better, because effectively you've got DP reduction, you also got deletion protection on top of that till the end of your opponent's turn. Huge, absolutely huge. There's a reason why it's got restricted, and thinking about it, it was pretty cracked at the time. Effectively, if you don't want to run 3 decks Doro Greymon, you could easily slide in a Greymon in there. That's not a problem. The Greymon inheritable is really good. Means that you can just like kind of clear out the opponent's remaining Digimon when you are at your top end, being Alphamon. Speaking of Alphamon, let's go over to the Megas. Megas is quite a hefty package right here. I'm not going to shy about it. This will probably, once again, people will be like, whoa, this is quite heavy, but let's go with it. So we do run the 1 BT13 Alphamon, Altar looking Peng. We do go in with the 3 BT9 Alphamon. Then Oryumon at 3, because that's obviously your main kind of combo extender. And then lastly, we do run the 3 Alphamon Oryuken. So let's talk about it, because you're probably thinking, well, these ratios are all fucking whack. But let me explain. What we're trying to do here, we're trying to get to this with little memory, as like costing us very little memory. When BT9 was popping off, like the deck ran super smooth. It was clapping cheeks. It was extremely powerful. The reason why it became less powerful is because it basically just got hit on the restriction list. Now that we have more Doru Greymon targets, it's back to full power, back to full consistency. So why reinvent the wheel when the wheel was working absolutely fine when it was at freaking max power? And the thing I like about this is that D-Digivolve is huge. Look, D-Digivolve is an absolute menace. Nothing can prevent D-Digivolve. Like, even this effect that it gains from, you know, being removed, if it was attempted to be removed from play, you know, just remove a source and shazai, you're still on the field. No, that does not prevent this from being D-Digivolved. Just having something that just D-Digivolves a menace is strong. Any form of burst mode that you kind of come across, like Rosemon for example, or Quartzmon, how the frick do you out that? Granted, you know, you got Ayuka mode that can pretty much do the job, but it means that, you know, you have the option to effectively D-Digivolve something else, and then boom, go into this and really disrupt their board at that point. Or Digivolve their main threat, and if they've got basically if they Digivolved into a Digimon with the same play cost, then effectively Oryuken mode can literally blow up their whole field, because it will be basically Oryuken mode is that delete all your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. So really can kind of capitalize out on that, depending on obviously what deck you're versing. So I still really value this. Evo for 3 is very strong in this deck. I'm not saying that this is bad at all. It's very strong in what it does. But I do feel like even though it's obviously the threshold is 12k DP, it's great. It's got awesome sticking power, but it doesn't help for us to just get into this and just bang, 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 knock on the freaking security door and just clear it out. That's what we're trying to do with this deck. Clear it out quickly, set it up to a point where we've used our rookies to search our pieces, and then effectively bang, 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 bang after that, which is great. But you can obviously do a 2-2 split if you want to, but I feel like if you want to really just commit to the strat, boom, get that, get this bad boy tucked underneath, and then Shazam go into your level 7, and then you just start freaking cooking from there. Though the thing that's quite interesting is that you can actually just evo into this if you are pressured into doing so. Not the optimal play, I'm not going to lie, but when pressure is on your door, you've just got to respond with something. And Orayumon is quite helpful in that. It means that it can't be deleted by effects, which is quite nice. And then it can also pop a play cost of 7, which is quite handy in that sense. So obviously you can go for that, but this is obviously going to be your main tuck, or if you've thrown out a BT7 Dorumon and you just want to have one of these bad boys in your trash setting up, ready for when you do evo into your either Alphamon, it means that you can just tuck this underneath, meaning that when you are kind of going in heavy aggression, you can effectively maximize on that heavy aggression, especially if you do have Yuji out there on the field as well. So yeah, that concludes for the actual top end. Like I say, you're probably thinking it's a little bit heavy, but with this deck and how much cycling it goes through, it does work quite nicely. So going on to the Tamers. So Tamers, very crucial right here. So obviously we do go in with the 3 UG as standard. There's obviously going to be a core play here. And then we go in with the absolutely broken Cool Boy. Cool Boy at 4 is just so nice. If you trip this off insecurity, oh man, it could change the game completely. With this deck, obviously, a Cool Boy triggers are going to be mainly for when we go into Dex Dorugamon or obviously our Dex Doru Greymon, because we effectively can draw one and then also gain a memory, which is just huge in this deck. When you're going to pop off time, this boy takes off his shades and he's ready to assist. Obviously our UG is obviously going to be helpful for us to, once again, if we push out Raising with an X-Antibody Digimon, we get to draw one and we also get to gain a memory. The thing that's quite funny with this is that actually opponents just tend to forget what UG does. So they're like, oh yeah, I got this boy choked, let's get it. And you're like, yeah, I'm just going to push up and I'm going to gain 1 and I'm also going to draw 1. Oh, look at that, I'm high rolling right now. And then that's when these two work part and parcel and just absolutely just synergize so well together. So you could run a Kota, but I feel like Kota kind of slows you down a little bit. Ideally, you just want to kind of just get your UG out, or at least just 1 UG, in order for you to just pop off. If you just got 1 UG and a Orayumon in trash, you pretty much just got a game at that point, depending on obviously what you're versing. If you're versing that security control, you got to put in that work, and that's where you're going to throw out down another UG or something. So that's pretty much it for the Tamers. Then for the options, we're keeping this very light. It's just simple and clean, like freaking Kingdom Hearts. So blam, we're going with the 2 Zumagon Punch, and then just end it up with the 2 Kongo. These 2 alone just massively help out the deck. Kongo just helps out, just kind of slowing down that early aggression. Obviously this deck is all about setup, and being chipped down can be a little bit annoying unless they actually chip into a Tamer, which is obviously once again the absolute value for us. On top of that, obviously if you are versing like security control, this absolutely helps. And if you are versing Shine, it means that, you know, they cannot like recover their Marcuses if they have gone into their BT13 Shine, which is so freaking worth, because honestly that matchup is somewhat annoying at times. If you've not got the DP protection out, or have managed to kind of draw out the game a little bit. But then Zumagon Punch is just, I find this better than freaking SUNARIZAMON, if I'm honest. And the reason why I've kind of gone with obviously a higher count of our BT9 Dorumon is because we can safely secure us at least getting our options. Our options are very powerful in this deck, and effectively you just need one of them to be an absolute game changer. Zumagon Punch obviously just gives you a blocker, gives you additional 3000 DP, means that your Alphamons are just going to be stacked. And then gives you reboot, secure attack +1. It means that we can go absolutely aggressive. If you happen to have your BT7 Doru Grey with this, you just, it takes just one swing, and Oriumon in stack, boom, game's done. Absolutely finished. It is crazy the amount of power this card has in this deck. And then if it's in security, it just adds to hand even better. Like, okay, so opponent better finish me off, because I'm about to come and knock on those doors. So this is it. There's no black memory boost. Honestly, don't think the deck needs it. Like, I'd rather just have that maximum consistency. I'd rather just get my Yujis out, get my cool boys out. They can search out my cards. I can draw effectively. When you're going off into freaking combo mode, you're drawing a lot of cards. You would not believe how much cards you're drawing. Obviously, on top of your inevitables on that as well. It's nuts. Like, I very rarely do not have any of these in my hand, like, just because how much draw I have in this deck, which can, obviously I can control of what kind of draws I want to do. If I want to do a search draw, making sure I'm getting my eccentric pieces, or if I want to effectively ensure that I'm going to net 2 cards, which could possibly be one of my options that can help sway the game, then, you know, I have that option there available. But that concludes my deck profile. Kind of keep it short and sweet, but I managed to butcher the name so hard that every time, like, Darugamon or Ayumon, it just does not flow off the tongue, so I do apologize. But I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will catch you in the next one. That's your boy DJ Dread, off the mic.